Hey, I'm back. It's Jim Friedenmaker, and I wanted to catch up with where we're at. So my head's covering a little bit of this. I'm just going to go ahead and turn off my camera here, just to show you where we left off in the last video. If you've been following along live, so at the very bottom, we tried to push the changes to the batch file that I have for checking the Git version with the Windows batch file, and we got a permission denied for jimfry-cs50, which is my username. My I set up a separate GitHub account so I could show you without exposing my client code, and then a fatal unable to access, and then it gives the Git URL. It says the requested URL returned an error 403. So the issue is that you have to set up, and I wasn't sure because this is the first public repository that I've set up. All my other code is private. So I went ahead and checked out just to see if I can get this error. But what you have to do is, for security's sake, you have to, obviously you can think about, what if you happen to know a URL? Can anyone just publish to anyone else's GitHub? Of course not. So part of the security is they used to allow the username and password to serve as that, but a more secure system is, and a much more quote-unquote granular system, is you set up personal access tokens, and we're about to do that. I'll show you that process, but go over to the, we're logged in. Now the first thing I want to show is, because we weren't actually able to push, this screen has not changed, but I just want to prove that to you. So no changes, and we're on this very last line. We've made changes, we've added the remote, and we're about to push to this repository on that quote-unquote branch, the main branch. We could not do that. We got that error. So it doesn't matter how many times we tried to do that. So up in the upper right hand corner, we'll go ahead and click on this. This is the profile. And I'm going to go down to settings. And then if you were watching the last video, we'll come back to password and authentication. But actually what we're looking for is down under developer settings, this very last line as of May 3rd, 2025 anyway. They could change that in the future where it's at, but right now it's under developer settings. And we're going to set up a personal access token. So they used to have a less secure way, so don't pick the classic. Pick the what's called the fine-grained tokens, and I'll get into a little bit more conversation about that. So I'm going to go ahead and click this fine-grained tokens, and you see that I already have a token set for another repository. And what these allow, these are fine-grained repository scope tokens. That means that this access token that we're about to generate will only be used for the new repository that we just set up. So that's the only thing it's going to do. You can have it set for multiples, but I actually generate a token for each repository that I have set up. And then you also have it expire, so these won't last forever. And you just come back in here and keep those set up. So I actually used this before I started recording today. I actually used this old one, set up a new one, and I used another one here. So it'll expire on the same date that I had an expired token to generate. So okay, so I'm going to generate. You're not going to actually see the actual token that got generated, but I'm going to show you all the steps right up to that very last button, just so I don't expose the token. Because as it says probably on the next screen, treat tokens just like they were passwords, because that gives you the ability to upload and pull down from the GitHub. So you don't want random people sending things to your repository, or even the ability to pull from it. In this case it's public, so I don't mind if they pull from it, but they can't push to it. Okay, so I'm going to click this button, generate new token. And if you followed along with the last time, I did not have I hadn't logged into this account for quite a while. To my surprise, I did not have the two-factor authentication set up. So before I recorded this video, I went ahead and did this, and I used the Google Authenticator. So it changes every 30 seconds. So that proves that I entered the right code, and that way no one, even if they know my username and password, they're not going to be able to get into it before we. So it's going to ask me that whenever it's required. So like I say, because I generated the other token for the other repository today, you'll see the same expiration date. So 30 days, this token will no longer work, and I'll do it again. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in. I'm just going to keep it the same as the repository name. No magic with that. Just you have to have a unique name. It's available because the repository was available. So if that would have not been available, I could have just entered NetData Projects on the end of it. I'll just do that just to show you. It didn't have to be the same. So, go ahead and paste in the title of this YouTube video. Will expire on June 2nd, 2025. Okay, so obviously that has nothing to do with the token, but I'll show you this. So I'm the owner. I'm the only user on this account. I'm a solo developer, and then I'll show you what your other options are. So you can say this, but I would strongly encourage you to have a fairly tight expiration date. So I'm going to keep it at the 30 days, and then here, just to be clear, is okay. So what do we got? So if this token was only for read-only access to public repositories, that would be one thing. But in this case, we want to limit it only to the repository, the most recent repository. So we don't want it to go to this one, we want it to go to this. Because if I accidentally said that and didn't do it, so you can actually select more than one, but in this case, I prefer my tokens to be limited to one repository. Okay. And then down here, I'm going to show you this. Now, a lot of this stuff you don't need to do anything with. I'll just show you. For the purpose of what we're doing, the very basic stuff, repository, everything we need to do is going to be accomplished by a very small piece here. So under the contents, okay, so repository contents commits branches, downloads, releases, and merges. Everything that you'll need as a beginner is all we need is to do read and write, because we do need to read from the repository and we do need to write to the repository our changes. So we do need to make it read and write and not just read only. But that is all we need to do. And I'm going to scroll down. This metadata, search repositories, list collaborators, and access repository, it's already set that it's read only, but that's all it can be done. So it is mandatory as it says here. So just to let you know, so we only changed one thing, access, read, and write on the contents, and that's all you have to do for everything that you're going to be doing. And if as you get more advanced with GitHub, and you find yourself, you're starting to get errors in your permissions, whatever. But for the people that are aimed at this, new people to Git and GitHub, that's exactly all you need. So I'm just going to scroll down. Oops. And Now here is where I have to drag it off the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, it shows you what you're about to do. Here's, as soon as I click this button, then that's when it's going to do that. So I did want to show you the permissions that's set. So you get one last chance. So I have to drag this off the screen just to show you. So I'm just going to bring up the other window just because this is treated just like a password. And switch back, drag this off the screen. I'll be right back to you. Okay, one thing that I did get is that the token name is too long, so it's a maximum of 40 characters. So I'm just going to shorten it up, and not sure if this is going to be short enough. I'm not even going to count the characters. I'm just going to try it with this name where I added the dash net data projects on it. So that may or may not fit, but we'll see. And I'm just going to scroll down through to see if that change required me to do anything. Everything else remains selected. Repository permissions are correct. You're not seeing it, obviously, but you go ahead and generate. It brings up the next box talent. You just reminded me exactly how I've got the permissions set. And now I'm hitting the generate button again. Okay, so that turned out to be short enough. I didn't even have to take a chance. So here's what happens. It says, here's what it says so far. Checking get version with Windows batch file, never used, expires on Monday, June 2nd, 2025. And then here's the, if I could show you the screen, then I would show you. But I have to keep it, I have to keep this top secret, just like a password would. I wouldn't expose my passwords. So make sure to copy your personal access token now, as you will not be able to see this again. So what I'm going to do, there's a little copy button to the right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that to, I have a text file up. I also will put it in my password manager just for the sake of time. Instead of putting it there and here, I usually copy the exact token name, and I copy, when it will expire initially at least. Just talking through this because I can't show you any of this on the screen. So I've got that copied, the check and get version with Windows batch file, never used, expires on June 2nd, 2025. And then I'm just going to, in my text file here, just put a token generated 4:35 p.m. I'll save that back, and I will put it in my password manager after I stop this recording. So now, that is that. So let me go up to here. I'm going to go to a different screen before I bring it back. I'm going to know that it's not exposed anymore. Now I can show you this because it no longer shows you the screen. So all I did before I drug it back is I just clicked on something else. And then I went down to here, and again, just don't do the tokens classic because this is much more, the fine-grained with very specific permissions and limited to a single repository in my case. That's what I would encourage you all to do. So, okay, so I'm going to make that large again. And then, that's all I need to show you here. So I'm going to go back to home. And then I'm going to go into that repository and show you that, because we haven't pushed yet. Now that should be everything that we need to do. So all I'm going to do is just use the up arrow. And I'm going to try to push that code. And I'm going to show you something before I do that. That would have absolutely worked, but I'll just show you that. Let's see. So I'm going to do another get status just to show you. So nothing to commit because we've already done the commitment command, but we have not pushed it. It's not up on GitHub yet. So we go ahead and show that. So git push -u origin main. Now watch what happens. Okay, so I'm still getting that error. And that's a surprise. So here's what I think is going on. I'll explain this. Because it's limited to the repository, I'm 99% sure, because a lot of times I'm used to working on one thing, but very surprised about that, but I think I know what's going on there. Bring up another window here. I'll be right back to you. I'll paste some of this into ChatGPT. That's all I would have had to paste. Is there was that one thing, but let me just show you this. See what ChatGPT has to say about this. I'm 99% sure I know what the issue is, but I'll make sure. Okay. Let me look at this here. Here. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let me see if I like this response better. Okay, so let's try this. I have no idea if I'm using the thing because usually I'm working on a project, one project at a time here. So, give me a second here. So I believe it's just a caching issue. We'll see if this returns any problems. Alright, I'm going to Control C on that. try this other one at least temporarily to get a supply. Wouldn't expect it to take that long normally, so. Okay, so let me look here on the credential cache. Okay, so try this one again. It did take a little bit longer than I was expecting, so I'll see about this one. So I'll show you what my theory is about that one, is where this is saying the bash. So obviously I could do it the manual way if I had to. But we'll see if we get an error on this. So I don't. Okay, so here we go. So let me try this here. Oh, that's working. Put it over here. Some context. That's what I figured it was going to be where it was showing bash. So what will happen is it'll reprompt for some information. So if this doesn't work, we'll do it manually. Okay, I'm going to get out of that. I'll paste in the new one. Yeah, so it's going to do the same thing. It's going to pause. So let me go ahead and stop this video, and I will clear it manually if I need to, and test it, and then we'll resume from there, rather than keep you guys waiting.